Hi and welcome to another episode of Talking Everything Tyres with General Tyre. This morning I have with me my colleagues Lance on my left and Marcus on my right. We're here at Bush Pig Adventures. This time we're going to talk to you about the difference between a standard construction and this thing called a LT or light truck construction. So I think let me just start with you, Lance. When it comes to standard construction, which not everyone knows what the difference is between that and this thing called LT. Now, you'll see on some tyres just before the size, there's an LT. What does that actually mean?
Okay, so the LT stands for light truck, and really the essence around it is a light truck tyre has more load carrying capacity than a standard tyre.
So now if you have a bucky and you're not required to carry as much load, how does an LT tyre help you then in the South African context?
It's a stronger construction, it's more beefed up. Off the cuff, penetration resistance is going to be beneficial for the South African market. We get penetrations in the tread, in the sidewall, and more so from a sidewall perspective, what we call the buttress of the tyre. So this is really in the upper region of the sidewall where majority of your penetrations, and I'm sure Marcus can confirm this.
Definitely.
Tread penetrations not as much, but sidewall penetrations in the buttress area are by far the most that we're going to encounter. So from a tread perspective, on a light truck construction, we've got more tread. The tread area is thicker, and right underneath that we have our steel belts or our steel stabilizing belts. And on the light truck construction, we really have a lot stronger cord construction. From the sidewall side, obviously a thicker sidewall, and in this buttress area we have what is called a shoulder pad. Right? So this is an additional componentry that we add to the tyre in the region of 2 to 3 millimeters in
Of
thickness,
additional thickness.
of rubber. Yeah.
Because that's the big question in the 4x4 market we often get asked is, what tyre can I put on where I'm not going to get sidewall punctures? Now if you roll it back a little bit and you look at any brand of tyre, if you put a piece of wood with a nail sticking up and you drive over it, 99.9% of tyres, through your tread, you're going to get a puncture. You're not going to stop that. But on the sidewall, and us as 4x4s, you're continually deflating our tyres. Obviously, we're creating a bulge on the side of the tyre. You got your LT, which is going to give you less of a bulge because of the strength of the construction, which is great, okay? But it does hinder you ever so slightly in the sand where you're wanting that biggest footprint that you can get. But when you're on the rocks and you're going through various terrains where it is continually changing and you have broken tree stumps, things like that, that is where your LT really comes into form, where you've got the stronger section over here, and this is where you'll get predominantly your punctures, your little sidewall punctures. But then when you get onto the other terrains, like your gravel, like your rocks, shale, anything like that, you've got almost peace of mind that your sidewall is not going to get as damaged.
In a tyre like the Grabber 83, which I'm holding here, you get both. So you'll get a normal one that will just say 265 65 17, and then you'll get the LT which will say LT 265 65 17. If you need it for the robust construction, for a little bit more extreme 4x4ing, like Marcus said, the different types of terrain, the rocks, then the LT is the one you're going to go for. In terms of any compromises, Lance, so you may look at 3 to 4 kilograms extra in weight of the tyre because of that extra construction. What about speed and load rating? So your load rating will go up in terms of what it can carry. What about speed rating? Would there be a compromise in speed rating?
Yes. Yeah. So in general, your heavier construction, like your light truck tyres, your speed rating would go down. So at minimum one speed index down. Let's just use a wild example. If we have a standard 83 with an S rating, and S rating means maximum speed of 180 kilometers an hour, we would typically have a light truck construction running at
A Q
or Q, yeah, which is 170, 160 kilometers an hour.
And that's, what is the reason for that?
It builds up more heat.
More heat.
Yeah.
Okay. So heat buildup works against the tyre, the properties of a tyre.
Yeah.
The hotter it gets, tyres could eventually, with extreme heat, can come apart.
Correct.
Okay, eventually.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. So that sort of basically that covers our standard spec versus LT, and just understanding the application of both. I think it's important to know that, so that you can choose the right tire for your application and for your vehicle, of course.